Hi, I'm Amy Romeo and welcome to my Spring Fling crafting event where I'm sharing a brand new spring faux leather craft for your Cricut every day for 10 days. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make this really pretty butterfly card wallet. The wallet is cut from faux leather. The butterfly is cut from heat transfer vinyl and pressed onto the faux leather, and then it closes up with a snap on the wallet, and this holds money and cards and even something like a chapstick if you'd like. I have the SVG file for this project in my shop, and I'll leave a link to it for you if you want to craft along with me. So let's get started with going over the tools and materials we'll need for this project. I'll be using my Cricut Maker today, but you can use any of the Maker machines, the Explore machines, or even the Cricut Joy Xtra to be able to cut this pattern. This pattern is a little too large to cut on the Cricut Joy, unfortunately. So I'll be using my purple strong grip mat to cut my faux leather, my green standard grip mat to cut the heat transfer vinyl for this project. I'm just using solid colors. You can use any faux leather or heat transfer vinyl you would like. And then to press the heat transfer vinyl onto the faux leather, I'll be using my Cricut Easy Press Mini along with a heat pressing pad and then also a cover sheet of some kind. This is a Teflon sheet that I've trimmed down to a smaller size, but you could use butcher paper or parchment paper as well. I have some small curved scissors, which are great for detail cutting, some large craft scissors, and then you'll need a weeding tool of some kind. I like a pin pen, but you could also use a hook weeding tool. So I mentioned the little KamSnap closure here. These are size 20s, and KamSnaps also need special KamSnap pliers. I'll have links to all of these materials for you. But the KamSnaps that work with this particular project are a specific size. They're size 20 extra longs. And what that means is the main part of the KamSnap, which looks like it has a little nail head, it has a post. This post is longer than regular size 20 KamSnaps. And the reason we need this post to be extra long is because on the bottom part of the wallet, the post has to go through 3 layers of faux leather to hold this together. The flap only goes through 1 layer of faux leather, but this one needs an extra long post. So I'll show you how to apply the KamSnaps, but just remember if you're shopping for KamSnaps, they need to be size 20 extra long. They're available on Amazon in a small variety of colors, and then they're available on the KamSnap website in loads and loads of colors. So again, I'll have links to all of that for you. I also have some blue painter's tape. I'll show you how we're going to use that to help us get great cuts with our faux leather. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into Design Space. I'll show you a little bit more about this pattern, and then we'll get it cut out, and I'll show you how to assemble the wallet using the KamSnaps. Starting with a blank canvas in Cricut Design Space, you'll click on Upload, and then Upload Image, and you'll browse to where the unzipped SVG file for this project is saved on your device. Click on it to select it, and click Open, and then click Continue, and then Upload. So here we'll see the pattern for this project, 2 very simple layers. The back layer will cut from faux leather, and then the butterfly will cut from heat transfer vinyl. We don't need to make any changes to the sizes or any adjustments. You don't even need to change the color of these elements because you'll just cut them from whatever faux leather or heat transfer vinyl you put down on your Cricut mats. So all we need to do is click the Make It button. We're cutting our materials on a mat. The first thing we want to do is toggle the mirror button on for both of these mats because faux leather and heat transfer vinyl cut in reverse. First thing I want to do is drag my shape away from the edges of my mat a little bit so we have room for that blue painter's tape. We also want to make a note of what size material we need to put down on our mat so we can cut out the shape completely. So you can see that this shape is almost 9 inches wide and almost 8 inches tall, and this is going to work well with a sheet of faux leather that's 9 inches by 12 inches, for example, which are the sheet sizes that come from my favorite faux leather supplier that I'll link to for you. But if you're buying from there, or most of the sheets on Amazon are going to be able to accommodate this size. Now for the heat transfer vinyl mat, you'll want to do the same thing. Make sure you've got the mirror on, and we just want to drag this away from the edge a little bit and make a note of the size so we can cut a smaller piece of heat transfer vinyl to put down on the mat. So I'm going to cut a piece of heat transfer vinyl a little over 4 inches wide and a little over 3 inches tall. So I'm going to click back on the faux leather mat. I always like to cut those first. I'll click continue. And the cut setting I'm going to use is faux leather paper thin. If you don't have this setting bookmarked as a favorite like I do, you can click on browse all materials and search for it. If you're using the Explore Air 2, you'll need to turn your dial to custom before you can search for and find this setting. Now for your heat transfer vinyl mat, you'll just use your manufacturer's recommended cut setting for the type and brand of heat transfer vinyl. Okay, so faux leather paper thin. I'm going to use more pressure. That helps us get good cuts. And this is a reminder that we're just using the regular fine point blade that comes with all of the Cricut machines. Okay, let's go ahead and hop over to my overhead camera and we will cut out our mats and assemble our card wallet. So I've gone ahead and trimmed my piece of faux leather down to that size that I saw in the mat preview screen that I need to cut my shape completely. And this is obviously a solid color, but I wanted to just point out something quickly in case you wanted to use a print or a pattern. So the way this pattern works is the faux leather comes up from the back and then it folds down this way and it folds up this way. So if you want to use a print, you want to use a print that doesn't have a direction, because if the print is right side up on the back, it's going to be upside down on the front when it folds over and on this bottom part. So what's an example of an all over print? Something like this, a gingham, doesn't have a direction. It can go sideways or upside down. This has peaches on it, but they don't have a particular orientation. They're just all over the place. Now look at this different one, which is this St. Patrick's Day print. All of these little hats are going in one direction. The rainbows are going in one direction. If you turn this upside down, then everything is going to be upside down. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for prints and patterns, if that's what you choose for your card wallet. So I'm going to take my solid faux leather, I'm going to turn it over, pretty side down, put it on my purple strong grip mat. Now I wanted to mention, if you wanted to line the inside of your wallet with some heat transfer vinyl just to make the inside look a little more finished, I'll have another video coming up in my Spring Fling event where I show you how to press a large piece of heat transfer vinyl onto a large piece of faux leather before you cut it. And that way, whatever you're cutting already has heat transfer vinyl on the inside. So keep an eye out for that one. Now I have some blue painter's tape, and all I'm going to do is use some pieces of this and tape my faux leather down on all sides. And this is going to help keep our faux leather from shifting while it's cutting. And it's going to help us get really nice clean cuts. So we already have our faux leather paper thin cut setting with more pressure ready to go. So we'll just load our mat into the machine and begin the cut. So our pattern has cut one time, and we want to use our sharp weeding tool and just lift up the edge to see if it looks like the cut went all the way through, which this looks pretty good. Now this design also has little small holes in each of the ends here. So if you're poking at those holes and they aren't coming up cleanly, then you want to rerun your mat. And you can rerun the cut on your mat as many times as you need to, as long as you haven't unloaded it yet. So you can just press the cut button again. It'll pull the mat in and recut, and then you'll be able to assess again, see if the cut has gone all the way through before you finally unload the mat. But this one looks good, so I'm going to unload, and I will remove my shape here. I'll just use that sharp weeding tool and just poke through all those holes. Now, if when you're poking them through, they don't come all the way off, you can use those small curved scissors. Wherever they went, you can use those small curved scissors and just trim off the little piece that's hanging on. So here's our faux leather pattern. I'll set that aside. And then I'm going to take my green standard grip mat. I'll take my little piece of heat transfer vinyl, shiny side down. And then I'm going to change my cut setting to whatever the manufacturer recommends. I'm using Caesar Easy Weed, and I like to use the iron-on setting. So I'm just going to load this and we'll cut this out too. So my vinyl mat has finished cutting. I'll go ahead and remove my heat transfer vinyl. And now I'm just going to take my weeding tool and weed away the excess vinyl from my little butterfly shape. So I've finished weeding away all of the insides and the outside of my little heat transfer vinyl butterfly. So now I'm going to get my heat pressing pad and my little cover sheet. I have my Easy Press Mini all warmed up on the low setting. That's that first green line. If you're using a regular Easy Press or heat press, I would set it to about 265 degrees. So now I'm just going to take my little butterfly here, and we want to remember that when we flip our pattern over, the butterfly flap comes down. So we want the bottom of our butterfly to be here on the flap. So I'm going to take our flap, place it right here. This pattern is only going to fit one way on your cutout faux leather shape, so don't worry. Oh, and I forgot to weed out a little spot. Let me show you what it is. So right down here somewhere, there's the little hole, the cutout hole for the little cam snap, and I need to weed out that little hole of the heat transfer vinyl. There's the hole there. So I don't want to forget that. There we go, perfect. So now we've got that little hole cut out, so you'll be able to line that up with the hole in your faux leather pattern. Just like that. Now we're going to cover with our cover sheet. Again, this is a Teflon sheet, but you can use butcher paper or parchment paper. And we're just going to cover and press. You want to get about 10 seconds of good coverage and pressure all over the entire butterfly. Once we've pressed all over, what we want to do is start to peel away that clear carrier sheet on top of the vinyl. And you want to peel very slowly in case there's any lifting. If there's lifting of your vinyl, then you can just place this right back down, right in the same spot, and cover and press again. This is looking pretty good. So now that I've removed this clear carrier sheet, I'm going to cover one more time and just press for about 5 seconds all over. That second pressing just helps make sure that this is really well adhered to the faux leather. So this is warm. I'm going to place this underneath my heat pressing pad for just a moment, and then I'm going to get my Kam Snaps ready to go, and then I'll show you quickly how to apply that Kam Snap and finish off our card wallet. So our faux leather and heat transfer vinyl is nice and cool, and we're ready to apply our Kam Snaps. So just a reminder, we're using size 20 extra long Kam Snaps because we need that extra long post to go through 3 layers of faux leather. So the extra longs that I'm using, again, you can get them on Amazon in basic colors, or you can get them on the KamSnap website in lots of different colors. And what I like with my Kam Snaps is this little flyer that shows you the different elements. So what I like to do is go through whatever I have my Kam Snaps in, and I like to find each of these 4 pieces because we need all 4 pieces to create one snap. So I already went through my little bag here and I set them out on my work surface. You need 1 cap, 1 stud, it has little bumps on it, a socket, and then another cap. So you'll just find one of each of these pieces, lay them out in the same order, and I'll include this in your download folder because it is very helpful. And then the first thing we're going to do is take one of our caps, and let's do the butterfly flap here first. Going to take one of our caps and we're going to put it down through that hole in the front of the butterfly. Flip it over, and then we're going to take our next piece, which is the stud, and the stud has those little tiny bumps. Let me see if I can show you. It's got bumps on the back. It's probably hard to see, little bumps, and then this is the stud part that's going to stick down into the other socket Kam Snap. So look for the bumps. We've got our cap here, and then the bumps are going to go bump side down onto the faux leather. So cap and then a stud. Then we're going to take our KamSnap pliers, and let me flip this around. So it's important to note that with the KamSnap pliers, there's a black piece, and that black piece is large, and the cap is going to sit inside that black piece. So you might need to turn your piece around or rearrange your pliers. You want that black piece to be on the side of the cap, and all we're going to do is cover the cap and the stud here with the white piece on the pliers, and this black piece will completely cover the cap when you have everything lined up right. Once everything's lined up right, all we need to do is squeeze really hard. And that is the first part of your snap. Now the second part is this bottom part down here. This is where we need that extra long post. So that's why we need size 20 extra longs. And what we're going to do is first take another cap, and then you're going to take either the left side or the right side, doesn't matter which one. You're going to put your cap down. So the cap is on the inside now, and the post is coming out on the pretty side. I'm left-handed, so I'm doing the left side, but you can do whichever side you want. So just fold that over. Here's our extra long post, and then take whichever other flap you didn't use and put that also over the post. Then we're going to kind of pull this down a little bit, and I have some little pieces of blue painter's tape that I've already trimmed, and I have them handy because we're going to take this bottom flap, fold it up onto that post, and then once we get this sort of laid out the way we want it without any big gaps here, then we're going to tape this into place so it doesn't move while we're snapping, while we're squeezing our KamSnap shut. So there's one little piece of tape, and we'll do the other one. Once you apply this KamSnap, then these flaps are going to be secured and you won't be able to adjust them. So adjust them now. There we go. Now on the post that's sticking up, I'm just going to take the other piece, which is called the socket. So there's a flat part of the socket. When I put that on, then we have the opening of the socket here, which the stud is going to snap into. And again, we're just going to repeat with our pliers. We need to make sure that the black part is where the cap is. The cap is on the inside. Just line this up so that the cap is completely covered. You can't see the cap. And the white part is covering all of that other piece, either the stud or the socket, whichever one you're using. And I'm just going to squeeze. And that's that. So now I'm going to remove my tape that I used, and that just closes up and snaps. Isn't that cute? So the last thing I wanted to mention about the KamSnaps is you'll notice on this one, I used a sort of peach corally color snap, and that is from my regular size 20 KamSnap box. So if you've made a lot of things with KamSnaps with me, you might already have this box and these pliers. And sometimes I want to use the colors that are here, which is more than the colors that I have from the KamSnap website. So I don't want this to confuse you, but now that you know how to put on KamSnaps, I wanted to mention the only KamSnap that you really need to be extra long is the one piece that goes back here. It's a cap. You need one cap with the extra long post to go back here. All the other pieces can just be regular standard size 20s. So in this case, I cheated the system a little bit. I just have some white size 20 extra longs from Amazon. I used that on the inside because no one's going to see that. And then I was able to use all the other elements from my regular size 20 box. I hope that makes sense. Isn't that cute? I hope you enjoy this project, and I can't wait to see the butterfly wallets that you create. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.